we have a very special treat for you today. Jeff has just informed me that he has scaled past the ever so elusive six-figure mark within his content strategy business. And on top of that, over the last year, he has got his first house. He got engaged. He traveled to some amazing places, even cracked the code working with some DJs, getting some budgets there. And then additionally, next week, he has his first film that he wrote and directed that's going to be launching at the Orlando Film Fest, I believe it is, right? So he's going to be walking on red carpet, just doing celebrity things. This is Jeff, guys. I wanted to introduce you because he's got a pretty incredible story. And correct me if I'm wrong, you've been doing content creation about 15 years as well?
Yeah, I would say right around 15, maybe a little less, but I started in photography. I started in film school, went into photography, and now I've sort of found my way back to, my first love, you could say.
Amazing. So first off, dude, I want to welcome you and I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to share a little bit about the journey over the last 6-12 months, let's say, and to kind of just share these nuggets that, we were just talking about on a separate call. So everyone, thank Jeff here because he didn't need to do this. So Jeff, first off, dude, I would love to just touch base on this film coming out next week because I've seen it all over social media the past couple months. You couldn't come hang out with me because you're going to the film fest. So dude, tell me a little bit about The Passenger.
Yeah, man, it's an interesting story. Basically back in 2020, when COVID was hitting hard, I was living in Brooklyn, but I decided to get out of there and quarantine with one of my best friends in Pennsylvania. It's 2 hours away from New York. And in the early days, nobody really knew how bad and how serious it was going to be. But gradually, as the entire world shut down, him and I, and we've collaborated on a number of creative projects in the past. We just started kicking around ideas of, how can we use all this time? What are we going to do? And it was his idea first that we should do a film. I was imagining just him and I doing something together, really small scale, but it grew into something bigger than I ever imagined happening. He's big into the motorcycle world. He's been in another motorcycle film called 21 Days Under the Sky. And basically over a period of a few months, we just started to formulate this concept for a film. And then I wrote the script, and then we got it in front of Harley Davidson's marketing director. They greenlit it. And then suddenly we're hiring crew and planning this crazy trip in Oregon to shoot the film. It was wild.
That's awesome, dude. So that was kind of COVID time is when it all started. And then the last, how long has kind of been the post-production, the promotional period? How much energy's gone in on that front?
Dude, it's so much energy. I have to say, making a film on that level is like building a house. You know what I mean? You pour the concrete, the foundation, you buy the lumber, you do the plumbing, you do the electrical, you put up the drywall, you paint it. It's kind of like that, So we shot it in November 2020 in the thick of COVID. Everything was shut down. But we kind of used that to our advantage with the story and as sort of a backdrop to the story in the film. So we shot it in November 2020. We started editing soon after that, maybe a month or two after, but we went through 3 edits and 3 editors before we finally landed on something that we could all get behind and we were all really happy with. From there, we did sound design. We got a legendary artist to do an original score for us. It's kind of crazy because I have a tattoo right here, which is an album cover for a band. And I got this 20 years ago. One of the members of this band is the person who ended up doing the score. So all the pieces kind of came together, man. And beginning to end, it was a 3-year process for a 22-minute film.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome, dude. I love to hear it. So how did you have time to do all that while you were focused on growing your business?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say in the first year, there wasn't a whole lot of time for anything else. Well, a lot of my clients had basically gone dark because of COVID. So it left this void for me to focus on this passion project. But, obviously there came a point where I had to start generating income again, because, we ended up, between Harley and all the other money we raised, it's $100,000 film in the end. So to answer your question, yeah, basically once we got into post-production, I had to sort of pivot back and really figure out what the way forward was going to look. I joined NLC, Next Level Creators, which was an early iteration of 30-day content strategist and the Mastermind. And I found myself going back to that course material and going back to that community on Facebook and the How to Sell community. And that was sort of right around the time where you and I connected. And yeah, I just really started to resonate with what you were putting out there. Not only what you were saying, but how you were saying it, which was important to me for whatever reason. And yeah, I took the deep dive, man, and jumped into the Mastermind right around a year ago. And I got to say, it was it was probably the best decision I've ever made for my business, for sure.
Yeah, dude, I love to hear that.
Yeah.
I remember before you joined, I was just, dude, I know I'm a random internet stranger right now, but just trust me, get your ass in there. If you're all in, I promise we can change the game this year together. So I appreciate you trusting me on that front, and trusting yourself, I think was the bigger front, because not only have we had a chance to work together in the Mastermind front, but I've also worked with Jeff on production projects where he's actually helped us with Lufthansa Airlines. He's helped out with some other shoots when we needed members up north and he could just bounce down for us. So it's been great to get to know you, dude, over the years.
Yeah.
So
dude,
let's
sure.
talk about kind of when you first got back in the squad and we're going through the materials again. Kind of how were you feeling? Was it overwhelm? Was it shit, is it going to work? Did I make the right decision? Kind of where was your head at?
I would say all the above of what you just said. Super overwhelmed, you know what I mean? Sales, marketing were always just bad words to me, just like dirty, ugly words that I just could not connect with in any way personally, they were just foreign. So yeah, super overwhelmed. I just white knuckled my way through a lot of the material, I think, I just felt, you ever see like a cat, you just put a cat in water and they're just super stiff. That's kind of how I felt, just frozen and stiff. And, I just kind of had to push through it. But really, the one element that I think makes such a difference is the community element, and having this safe space where you can talk to other people who are doing what you do, who are at various points, and, you can just be vulnerable without fear of being judged. You know what I mean? Because we all, no matter how weird you feel going through it on your own, no matter how alone you feel on the journey, you're never freaking alone, because everybody goes through the same stuff, just in a different shape and form.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it can feel very alone when you don't
Yeah,
have the squad and you're not hearing others be, oh, dude, I was struggling with that too. You the same, that's
totally.
what helped me tremendously when I got in there, because it was just others to be, hey, I do not get the way this was explained or this concept or something. And someone would break it down completely different than it was taught in the program. Be like, here's how I understand it.
Right.
Maybe this will help, So that's great, dude. And then I also wanted to touch base on kind of some of your first deals, because I feel like you came in all gung-ho. You started jumping into the materials, and then you're like, all right, dude, I got to work on my outreach. I got to do this. I got to do that. And we had the conversation one day where I'm like, dude, just stop and think, who do you know? And have a conversation with them, and just be a human and have conversations with people, just that.
Yeah.
And that led to the automotive client, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fill us in on that story, dude. Where were you at? How did that even come about?
Yeah, man. So
What was the deal?
yeah. So as I was learning all these new concepts, the obvious question is, okay, where do you find clients? That's it's the eternal question for creatives. So I really just started taking inventory of family, friends, who was within arm's length that I could potentially approach. And I was at, what was it? It was my fiance's nephew. I believe he was getting baptized. And, there was a reception at a restaurant. And I ended up sitting down to a friend of the family I'd heard about, for at least a year in advance. He's a super successful guy. He does really well. He built a company from nothing, and now it's this massive thing. And yeah, I sat next to him and just struck up a super normal conversation, business owner to business owner, and just started asking him questions, really. And there's so much power in just asking questions. You know what I mean? Just showing curiosity. And that's really what I did. And naturally, he just started to open up about some of his concerns, his challenges, where the company is at, where he wants it to be, doesn't really have the answers. And I just told him that I would follow up, I would take a look at his company, go through the website, and do a little follow up with some ideas, and we could schedule a call. And so I went through the company, looked at the website, and I made a little 5-minute video that showed me going through everything and just sort of demonstrated that I'm not just trying to bullshit him. And then from there, he invited me to come in and speak with him and his son, who's the business developer. And then I found myself suddenly pitching this 10 video, 25K deal, which is, up until that point, this was so far beyond anything that I've ever imagined for myself or touched. But here I was. And I remember the moment that I told them it was going to be 25K. And my armpits, my shirt is soaked. I'm quivering. And I said the word 25K. And they all just nodded their head. And that was it. So
My first deal too, dude.
so crazy. I mean, yeah, if there's one lesson that I've learned that's super important, it's realizing that, especially if you come from humble beginnings and you're used to smaller scale deals, different people think about money in different ways. And what's a massive amount of money to you could just be a normal part of a marketing budget to somebody else. And that was just that was a mind-blowing moment. So that company has been huge for me this year. I still have them on retainer after that initial deal. And I'm running ads for them now. I'm doing social media. And they've kind of become friends.
And where's that retainer at right now?
Retainer is at 5K.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet. And how about, are you working with any other clients on retainers?
That is my only retainer for now. Another thing that happened a few months, well, maybe more than a few months, maybe let's say back in April. So let's say 6 months ago, I reconnected with a friend who I kind of fell out of touch with for whatever reason. But I met him 20 years ago when I was living in Philadelphia, and he is a really successful commercial photographer. He flies around the world. He does Guinness campaigns. He does a lot in the liquor space, lifestyle. I reconnected with him, told him that I was doing video. We started doing small projects together, just creative projects between me and him. And soon after that, he started connecting me with his agents and bringing me on shoots. And I think with everything that I've gotten through him this year, that probably amounts to 30K.
Nice.
Yeah. And the lesson there for me was, I'd always wanted to work on these larger scales with agencies. Because they have bigger budgets, there's other sides to it that I'm not crazy about, but that was always my North Star. So I didn't really know how to connect with those clients or connect with those agencies. So sometimes the lesson is, it's not always connecting with these people directly. It's connecting with the people who are connected to them directly.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm just making a comment for others. If you guys have questions for Jeff, feel free to start dropping them in, and we'll try to get to some of those towards the end. So what do you think? Could you just touch on kind of what you think your biggest pain points were before joining the mastermind, before taking the next step with your education? What were some of the biggest pain points that you were experiencing at the time, and then kind of how has it evolved now?
Yeah, man, I would say the biggest pain point is just having no roadmap whatsoever to finding new work. I had no sort of outreach strategy, no framework for that. It was just sort of, hey, you need video kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I just felt super lost at sea kind of feeling. I would say that was a big pain point. But then even when I did get into conversations, I had no idea of how to structure them. I didn't understand what it meant to bring value to someone. I didn't understand what it meant to discover a client's pain points and to get them to a point where they have the clarity breakthrough and understand what you're trying to say. So there just wasn't any structure whatsoever. It was too loosey-goosey, too free form, too hope and pray kind of vibe. And it was just filled with anxiety, just like the highs and lows. And it was just,
What kind of months were you doing financially?
before the mastermind.
Yeah.
Oh God. I mean, well, first off, I'll say that COVID took a massive chunk out of my
Right. Yeah. Let's exclude that, because even for
Okay.
me, that was the first time I had 50 grand in jobs lined up for months, and it was just, see ya. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, business is awesome. And then I joined NLC.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. So I'll say before, I'm going to say 3 to 4K tops. It was gnarly.
Yeah.
It was,
Now that you've been working within the developing these skills, are there other things in life, not business, that you find yourself showing up for and you're more proud of the way you're handling things or communicating or anything like that?
big time, dude. I mean, it goes well beyond business. It's a massive mindset shift. And I know Paul Xavier talked a lot about that, in when he was first sort of introducing NLC in those early modules. And it never quite clicked for me. But now that I am where I am, it's really about how you show up in the world, how you show up in your relationships, how you present yourself to the world. So I would say, there's this fundamental, I guess, confidence that I have in approaching things, that even if I don't immediately understand or immediately have a solution for it, I know that I have the tools to get to that point. And I mean, it's major, dude. It's major.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Speaking of tools, I normally don't let the conversations go there. Here, I
Hmm.
guess I should say. But what's your favorite piece of gear right now?
Oh man, I got the Sony FX3 last fall, and I've been in love with it ever since. That there's a new movie called The Creator, and I just found out that it's this sci-fi, super tricked out, high visual effects sci-fi film, and it was shot on the FX3, which is kind of crazy. So I just love how versatile it is. You can build it out into a baby cinema camera, or you just have a little handheld jam and can just kind of roll in whatever way you want. So I
Yeah,
love it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, any other things that are up and coming that you're super excited about?
Let's see. It's really about this film for me right now, just because it's crazy that it took so much energy and time to just get the thing done. So basically, what I've been doing is just gathering and trying to build this second wind to push it out there. So after Orlando, the film is going to screen in Japan in December, and then we're just going to keep hustling it on the film festival circuit. But behind all that, I'm definitely thinking about, what my next big passion project is going to be. But yeah, man, that's what's on my radar for
What
now.
about in your business? Any kind of ideas for the next 6-12 months? Are you trying to bring on more clients? Kind of you're good where you're at? Where's your head at with that?
Yeah, I had to bring on another retainer client for sure. And I'd also to start working with an editor so I don't get bottlenecked with everything that I'm doing. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned, I think at the beginning, my fiance and I bought a house. And as we've been getting work done on it, I've been pitching myself to all the contractors who come. The plumber, and we got the house painted last week, and I got talking with the owner, and he was having issues with lead gen. So I'm going to follow up with him in the next week and have a conversation about that. So I need to do a new website for sure. That's probably going to be a holiday project. But beyond that, I'm just really committed to this one retainer client that I have, but I to take a lot of the systems that I've developed with them and sort of transplant it into
Yeah,
a new.
let's touch on that real quick because you were doing a lot for this client that you had
Yeah.
not done before. And that was
Yes.
like a big concern moving into it. Dude, I haven't done this. What am I going to do? So one,
Yeah.
I would love for you to talk about kind of that feeling, taking that on, and then also how you looked at it from the business perspective. I know a lot of people want to just jump in, sweet, I can sell this. Let me go sell it a bunch of times, but you actually took the approach I think is a lot smarter. Could you share with that a little bit, share on that a little bit?
Yeah. So after I delivered that initial 10 video project to this client, I did queue them up in my earn the deal conversation with them, that basically once all the videos live on the website, you have to find a way to drive traffic there. So once we got that handled, it was clear that they needed some help with their social media hustle. Nobody really at the company knew how to do it well. And there was plenty of things happening on a regular basis that were worthy of being captured. So that was basically my next step into working with them. So yeah, I went on a social media retainer. I just started showing up once a week there, and I still basically do 2 to 3 times a month. And yeah, man, it's a lot about just demonstrating your commitment to the client, even if you don't understand exactly how to do something. If you just show up and do all your research on the back end, it has so much value. So much value.
Yeah, I definitely concur. You know, even with this client now, when the shoot we're doing, we come in with pretty much half the videos in mind that we know we're getting. And then the other
Yeah.
half are just, we don't have to do them, but we're always looking at, well, if we work our ass off and even if we put in all this energy and we only get another 5 or 10 videos out of it, for us, that's another 20 grand in editing, you know? So it's,
Yep.
just, we decide and the last thing I ever want to hear from anyone who works with me or on my team or something, it's we're not paid for that, you know, or something like that. It's
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
paid to deliver an exceptional product. And if it's going to make us better, you didn't used to do thumbnails in that 25K package. And if we did
Right.
something for YouTube, that was something that I was just, I don't care. I'm going to spend $300 to get someone to do the thumbnails, even though we finished that project 6 months ago, because that's on us. We
Yeah.
should have done that. And then I did it for the client and I told them, hey, by the way, we updated your stuff. Guess what happened? They hired us for more videos. You know,
Exactly.
we would meetings to get in touch. And it was, you know, it just goes to show that kind of doing the right thing a lot of times and also not bullshitting your way through it, I think. Like,
Exactly.
did you go in and tell the client, hey, I know how to do everything? How was that? What were those conversations?
Let's see. I didn't say that I knew how to do everything, but that I leveraged the mastermind and basically said, I have a network that does X number of ad spend every month, who has, X number of years of experience that I can basically access at any time and sort of get their weight behind what I'm doing. And I think that kind of gave them security that it wasn't just a one-man show, so to speak.
Yeah, 100%. Ben asked, what ads, what platform were you running ads on for them?
Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, I still am running ads. It's paint protection film.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how did it work as far as when you went in? I'm assuming they had lots of things they sold and whatnot. How did you kind of narrow in on what to actually focus on to get them excited about it?
Yeah, I think again, part of it was showing up on a very regular basis and learning, becoming obsessed with the business, understanding how it works, understanding what services had the highest ROI, understanding their market and what they weren't necessarily tapping into, and sort of finding, the win-win on all sides of it. And, I think the fact that they have somebody like me who is looking into all these details and not just going through the motions, so to speak, but I'm consistently demonstrating how obsessed I am with getting them results.
Yeah, 100%, man. I'd love
Yeah.
to hear that. Could you also touch base on the conversation you kind of had in the last week with them about what's happening with leads? Because we
Yeah.
had a conversation maybe a month ago where you felt you were maybe dropping the ball, and fill us in what progressed.
Yeah. So I guess a couple weeks ago, I had a face-to-face meeting with the business owner who he's the one that I spoke to initially at that baptism, but his son is the one who I deal with regularly. And I think this was just a moment to zoom out, take a look at everything that I've done, take a look at what's happening on their side, and just sort of have an assessment and figure out how we can make things even better going forward. So what has started to happen is that the cost per lead is going up. And yeah, you're right. I didn't know exactly what was going on because initially I was getting leads for 40 or $50, which is kind of industry average for the particular service that I'm running ads for. And now it's up to $80 or something. So obviously I started freaking out, but I think there's an understanding on their side that for what they want to do and for how they want to grow, these sorts of experiences are just kind of part of the growing pains. And you just sort of have to roll with it. No matter who you hire and who you choose to work with, there are things that happen universally that you don't necessarily have control over. So again, I think that demonstration, that consistent demonstration to figuring out what's going on and having the community and having you and the mastermind still gives them a level of security that they're doing the right thing as well.
And what about for yourself?
For the mastermind?
Yeah. How does it help your confidence? Do I hurt your confidence?
Yeah, man, you really, no.
You never know, man. You might be like, I just have nightmares about your face sometimes.
Not at all. Not at all. No, it totally helps because, initially you're, man, if I can just get to 10K, or if I could just get to 5K, whatever, everything will be perfect. Life will be perfect, but it's not really how things work. I mean, you could stop there if you wanted to, but as you grow and as I grow, there's new problems, there's new challenges. So no matter where you're at, if you're running your own business, there are always going to be challenges, always.
Yeah.
And, I just think there's just always power in numbers. And to try to be doing it on your own is just fucking terrifying, even at this point.
I agree, dude. We just passed 400 grand this year.
Wow.
And, you can look at it both ways. Oh man, now you're making money. You can live wherever you want, this and that. But every step comes with more challenges. You have to learn how to become a better manager, a better leader, how to read people, how to understand running Earn the Deal isn't just with clients, it's with your people. What do you value? That's all learning how to communicate. And it kind of ties into, I really resonated with what you were saying about how my confidence level just went here in life with everything I was doing. The fear of, I know I can always jump back in and sell and get into do more videos and help more people and whatnot. I know I have those skill sets now. So it frees up the fact that you're thinking about your next feature film already is freaking awesome, dude, because you're like at the tail end of this long ass push where it's, bro, this is years and it's frustrating and it took longer and it's more budget than I can imagine. I can't wait to do the next one, Totally. And that's me with every freaking travel video. Dude, I'm not going to share any more of these adventures. That was 50 hours. We do a trip and I'm like, yo, everyone needs to see this.
Totally, man. Yeah, that's
so why it's great that you're leaving time for the passion side of business because, I don't think as creators, we want to scale to necessarily only make money. Sure, there's, wanting to provide, wanting to help your family, all of those things. But it also is, we became entrepreneurs to not have to do things the same way everyone else does it, to be able to have more freedom and flexibility and go after more of the things that we want and fire up our soul. So it's awesome because now too, all the systems you've been putting in place for that one client, how much easier is it going to be to get a second or third client now on that package?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And one thing I want to mention too that's interesting is I think previously I had this mentality where it was just, you have your commercial clients, you make money, and then you do your passion projects. And that's where the passion, the excitement, and the heart really is. But in this whole process of growing in the way that I have, I've discovered my own passion in just helping businesses and knowing how to do it. Because that's an art form in and of itself. You know what I mean? And so I guess I mentioned that because I don't feel really there's any aspect of what I do in my business now that I'm bummed on. You know what I mean? Because everything requires a different set of skills, and you could say is its own art form in a way. And I almost get as much passion or as much satisfaction out of delivering results to a client as I do about, making a beautiful passion project.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%, dude. When you can deliver and you have clients stoked about your results. And the other day, one of my clients pretty much offered me equity in his company if I drop everything else. I just want you to know, dude, I'll hire you as CMO immediately if you want to stop DNC, if you want to stop coaching. And I'm like, well, that's good to know, dude, that you value me that much, and I appreciate you saying that, because not every client does that, but that is, your clients become your best friends, sometimes, because you're also just 30-day content strategist, the content strategist community, it's us doing our thing, and not all of our friends resonate with it. I can't share with my family the same way. All my friends, when they give me business advice, I'm like, why did I even speak? But that's how it is with these business owners I'm working with. Think about it. They can't go to their employees and share the same frustrations, right? So when we're working together, that starts to build these bonds that next thing you know, I just got invited to go fishing in the Dominican with a billionaire, and because my buddy helps him on his law firm side of things. And you want to go fishing with this family? And I'm like, yep, I'm free. So cool, man. Well, if anyone has any questions, can they drop them below, tag you?
100%.
Awesome. And where can they find out more about just your stuff, more about the film, all that good stuff?
Yeah, I would say jump over to my Facebook page or Instagram. I'm posting stuff. If you are in the Orlando area, would definitely love to have you at the screening. It's next Friday night at 8:30 p.m. Yeah, slide over to my Facebook page or Instagram. I would say is the best way to find the info.
I just tagged Tom Ledford, and I think Michael Hooley is in Orlando as well. That'd be sweet to get some CSM squad members out there.
Amazing. Hell yeah.
Well, once again, I really appreciate you sharing and kind of diving deep through everything, and kind of opening up about some of the uncomfortable things throughout the journey, because I know it's not always, I never wanted to tell people, yeah, I was 32 grand in debt and no idea what I was doing. And at one point I was living on my sister's floor back home trying to figure this crap out, So I appreciate you sharing that stuff, and we'll just keep making moves, dude. Great.
Yeah,
Good
brother.
luck with the movie premiere next week. Keep us posted. And hopefully we'll be seeing some more deal close from you over the next couple of months.
Yes, sir. No doubt.
All right, brother. Great catching up. We will talk again soon.
Sounds good.